Live from the great Pacific Northwest, it's Crazy Delaney. Well, not exactly live, but here I am, once again, interbulating. The only way that I know how. We're not against the organization. We're against the abusive practices. We're against the RPF. We're against the Sea Org. We're against disconnection. But we're not against Scientology. Nay, nay, nay. I've had it with such statements. I'm through with such statements. For me, such statements are no longer true. You can take or against the abuse, but not the beliefs, and you can shove that up David Miscavige's pasty white posterior too. I've had it with it all. A lot of you may disagree with me here, but I simply cannot, in good conscience, hold to a position that it is only the abusive practices of the Church of Scientology that must be opposed. I'll state it very plainly. Scientology is the problem. Scientology is the hegemonic mental virus that gave life to every insidious abuse, from fair game to the vomit-inducing musical chairs incident perpetrated by David Miscavige at the INT base. Scientology is at best the ravings of a seriously mentally ill individual. At the very worst, Scientology is pseudoscientific fascism that needs to be opposed vigorously, ridiculed without mercy, and marginalized so much that it can have no serious influence in any society anywhere on this planet. And about that, I am quite serious. If it ever gets a hold of a national government, a city government, or even if it manages to take over a Dairy Queen franchise, God help us all. Folks, if you've been respecting the beliefs of Scientology, I'm asking you to seriously consider stopping. Ask yourself this. What in the insane, mad ramblings of L. Ron Hubbard is worthy of respect? The way to happiness? Well, I guess so, but it's the Ten Commandments. Creed of a Scientologist? It's all just common sense. And how many of the tenets of that creed do they violate on a daily basis in defense of the faith? Scientology is not beliefs. Scientology is not religion. Scientology is control. The end and the beginning of it is control. It produces emotionally retarded, overgrown children with a wild-eyed gaze that will do whatever it takes to keep Scientology working. It killed Lisa McPherson. It turned Tom Cruise into a joke. And it has no sense of humor that it is aware of. Folks, it's poison. It is mental poison, and it does not deserve your deference or your respect. Crazy Delaney, why are you so mad? Well, you know what? I've read one too many pages written by L. Ron Hubbard and have quite literally wept. When it hit me, the horror and ugliness of what a cleared planet would look like. What a planet run by Scientology would look like. And let me tell you, we're talking a planet that is going to be more homogenized than milk. So, folks, you try reading this guy and see how you turn out. What would Scientology say to my horror at reading in Science of Survival that all those 2.0 and lower on the tone scale must be removed? When I cry genocide, they cry MU. They quote to me, "In reading this book, be very certain you never go past a word you do not fully understand. The only reason a person gives up study or becomes confused or unable to learn is because she has gone past a word that was not understood. The confusion or inability to grasp or learn comes after a word the person did not have defined and understood. It may not only be the new and unusual words you have to look up. Some commonly used words can often be misdefined and so cause confusion. Yada yada yada. BS 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 dance." It's happened multiple times. I pull out the oddities, the vomit-inducing craziness in the writings of L. Ron Hubbard, and they pull out MU. I know it's not real elegant, but I must preemptively respond to those such as Usenet's Tom Newton, who will no doubt accuse me of advocating the extermination of Scientologists. See that, Tom? And others? That's what I think of that accusation. No, what I want is vigorous, intellectual opposition to Scientology. For it is my firm belief that Scientology cannot withstand honest questions or thorough investigation. If it could, there would be no need for the despicable, disgusting, and reprehensible tactics that it practices to this very day. I'm telling you to read Hubbard's books, and if you read Hubbard's books with an open mind, well, you might very well end up having as much contempt for Scientology as I do. If Scientology gives you meaning, fine. But don't expect me to refrain from calling poison poison. Don't expect me to refrain from warning people of the very real dangers of Scientology. And don't expect me to shed tears when a person decides to stay away from Scientology because they see it for what it is. An insidious and awful method of control that they and others would be better off without. Scientology is good for something, however. I want it taught in our schools. No, not study tech. I'd rather children gargle strychnine than go anywhere near LRH's study technology. No, I want Scientology studied as an example of what can happen when people obey thoughtlessly and do not ask enough questions. I want Scientology studied as the perfect example of a con job in the hope that children can develop good critical thinking skills so they'll be able to resist the snares of snake oil salesmen, whether they be politicians or religious gurus. Well, that's all I have for you for now. Until next time, peace, victory, and as always, drive safe. Crazy Delaney out.